Good afternoon, and welcome to another in our Midday Masterpiece series. Every month here in the Green Space, we team up with our friends from the Juilliard School to bring you these free concerts in the Green Space. My name is Terrence McKnight. I'm wondering how many of you have been here before? Friendly house. Now, remember, all of these programs that we bring you are made possible with contributions from our members. And we also want to thank the Jerome L. Green Performance Space for their generous support. All of these concerts are also shared on Facebook. Hello, Facebook. There you are. And we want to invite you to a special performance. It's our classical beer jam. It's going to happen in the Green Space on February 28th. And you can get more information at our website, WQXR. Today, we are going old school. We have a backstage full of musicians who are all between 300 and 400 years old. They are part of Juilliard's historical performance program, which offers students a comprehensive study and performance of music from the 17th and 18th centuries on period instruments. So we're going to start today in the 17th century with German composer Johann Jakob Rosen Muller. Please welcome the students from Juilliard. And before we get started, we're going to speak to one of the musicians. This is Mr. Yoon, Francis Yoon.
That's right.
Sir?
Sir.
Tell us about this program. How long have you been in it?
The program is 2 years long, and this is my last year. We've got a couple of months left before we get shoved out into the real world.
Yeah. So has it been dreamy for you?
It has been very dreamy. It's been incredible, actually. Just the amount of music that I've played in the 2 years, I think, is incredible, and the people that I get to work with, everybody behind me, are incredible, and so it's been incredible.
So you're the harpsichordist, and typically in that period, the harpsichordist was sort of the band leader. What are your responsibilities as the harpsichordist?
I sort of think of playing the harpsichord in a chamber ensemble as sort of being the rhythm guitar, you know? You're just kind of laying down the beat and just giving everybody the harmony, and so that it gives everybody playing the opportunity to be free, actually.
Yeah. Is that how you chose harpsichord? You always want to be like a rhythm guitarist?
Yeah, I mean, that's partly it. And the other reason is that I get to make up my part. Right,
Tell us more about that. What do you mean?
So in music of the 17th and 18th centuries, composers wrote just the bass line, which I play with my left hand, and excuse me, and then they write numbers to tell you what chord to play, and then you're free with knowing the chord to make up your part.
Yeah, so you're talking like figured bass.
So I'm talking figured bass,
Right.
yeah. So I'm talking figured bass, and it's less practicing, you know. No.
Right. Now, we're going to talk afterwards, but I'm going to let you all play this piece.
This is a sonata by Johann Rosenmuller.
Okay, let's hear it live here in the Green Space. Midday Masterpiece. These musicians, Chiara Fazzani and Rebecca Nelson on violins, Keats Diefenbach and Manami Mizumoto played violas, Madeline Boissou played cello, and Francis Yoon, who you'll see again, was the harpsichordist. Members of Juilliard. Historical performance. Live here in the green space, we just heard music from 1682, a sonata by Johann Jakob Rosen Muller. Our next ensemble is going to come out, and I'll just tell you a little bit more about this program. The Historical Performance Program at Juilliard is a full tuition scholarship graduate program. They specialize in early music on period instruments, and the faculty includes some of the best names in the business. Robert Mealy. I think Robert Mealy is here. Guilty. The program is open to candidates for the Master of Music, the Graduate Diploma, and the Doctor of Musical Arts degrees. Having a good time picking on the harpsichordist today, so let's bring Jakob Dasa up to the microphone. Jakob, how long have you been in the program?
This is my first year in the master's program.
Okay. Yeah, so the other harpsichordist, Francis Yoon, he's in his last year. Do you all have a sort of connection, relationship? Is he like an older student who guides you or what?
We all love working together and play together. Sometimes we do duet stuff and pass along the different accompanying to the different instruments, and so we're great friends.
Mm-hmm. Now, how do you see your role as the harpsichordist in the group?
Well, similar to what Francis was saying, kind of mesh the different parts together. Harpsichord is really a great collaborative instrument, and it's a great tool to use to kind of bring everyone together.
Yeah, how did you get to the harpsichord? Did you start on a different instrument?
I started on the pipe organ, and I still play pipe organ, and playing all the historic instruments really got me into this kind of music. So it led me to explore the different keyboards, and I really loved the harpsichord. So.
Mm-hmm. Introduce us to your fellow players.
Well, this is Beth Ann Walker playing Baroque flute, and Morgan Little on cello, and Shelby Yaman on violin.
Okay, and what will we hear?
We will play a Trio Sonata by Telemann, which is written in the style of Corelli.
Wait a minute, trio? There are four of you on stage. What's going on here?
Well, the Trio Sonata was sort of a genre, and there could be 10 people playing in a Trio Sonata, but it's called a trio because there are 3 parts. So Morgan and I will actually be playing from the same part. He will be playing just the bass line, but I will be playing the bass line with chords and stuff above it.
All right, let's hear it. We're live here in the green space. Trio Sonata in F major by George Philip Telemann, performed by members of Juilliard's historical performance program. The next set of musicians will be coming on stage, and I'll tell you a little bit about them. It's Juilliard 415. It's the school's primary period instrument ensemble, and it allows students the chance to work with guest artists, including Monica Huggett, Nicholas McGeegan, William Christie, Jordi Sabal, many others. The ensemble performs repertoire from the late 16th through the early 19th centuries on period instruments. And these group of musicians are coming out now. One thing I enjoy about these musicians coming into the studio, they always bring these wild and crazy instruments. We'll talk to Adam Young. Adam is the Viola Da Gambist.
Or
yes.
Violist Da Gamba, if you want to be specific.
Okay,
Either one will.
I'm gonna slide through here.
Oh yes, please come.
Yes. So how long have you been in the program, Adam?
This will be my last semester, and everybody's in the program for 2 years. So I've been here for 3 and almost a half semesters.
Yeah.
Yep.
How's it feel to be leaving?
I'm gonna miss it for sure, but I'll be staying in New York for sure. I love it here.
So, okay, this instrument, I said you were the Viola Da Gambist.
Yes.
Let people see this thing.
Yep. As you can see, at first glance, you might think that this looks a lot like a cello, but there are many, not only acoustic differences, but also physical differences. This is actually more related to a guitar than it is a violin. And it has a rounded bridge so that you can use it with a bow. So it's basically a bowed guitar.
Yeah, we had reference to an electric guitar earlier, so I see there's a through line here.
Yes, there's a theme.
Okay, behind me
Another.
This is the theorbo.
Yes. So the theorbo, it's really a magnificent instrument. And gamba and theorbo are kind of a married couple. You can see them together almost always. It's basically an over-projected lute. It has those extra long strings you see are called bass strings, and they're basically tuned like a scale, so that the lutenist or theorbo player can play really low notes that go lower than a cello or lower than a gamba, almost as low as a double bass, and just about as low as the harpsichord, in any key that you would find in early music.
Mm-hmm. Now, some logistical concerns. How about traveling with this instrument? Does it fold over? I mean, do you need two seats on the airplane? What do you do?
Josh's instrument does fold over, and that's kind of a new invention. But what's so cool about all these old instruments is that you find, since none of them are standardized, that everything has a weird little quirk to it. I have been playing gamba for about 3 years, but I played cello before that, and the cello itself was more like another appendage to me. So it really feels like I'm not carrying anything at all.
Okay, so introduce us to your ensemble and tell us what you'll play.
So we have Josh Stauffer on theorbo, and David Belkovsky on harpsichord, and Chloe Kim on violin. I believe, I'm the only one here that's in my second year, so you'll get to hear these players many more times through J415. And we will be presenting to you a piece by Buxtehude. It's called a Trio Sonata, but that just means that there are 3 composed parts. And in the continuo section, basically, you have a bass line with figures, like my friend Francis was talking about earlier, and they get to improvise. So it looks like a quartet, even though we're playing a trio.
This is Midday Masterpiece on WQXR.
Thank you.
Members of Juilliard's historical performance program, performing live here in the green space on our monthly midday masterpiece. That was a sonata in D minor by Dietrich Buxtehude. Now, tale has it that Sebastian Bach walked many miles to hear that man's music, and all you had to do was show up at the green space or tune in on Facebook. We have one more piece on today's program. It's this live show from the green space. And while our next group arranges itself, let you know a little bit more about Ensemble 415. The name is taken from a pitch commonly associated with Baroque music. And Juilliard 415 is played throughout the United States, but also abroad. They've played in Japan, Italy, Southeast Asia, the UK, and India. And their most recent international appearances were in Bolivia. That was a tour sponsored by the U.S. Department of State. That was the group's South American debut. And so backed by popular demand is the keyboard player, that man at the harpsichord, Francis Yan. I want to ask you, Francis, since this is sort of your swan song in the program, were you on much of the trips that the band has taken?
Yeah, I got to go on a couple of trips. I went on a trip to Berkeley, California last year, which was great. And then we do some frequent trips up to New Haven, which I also got to do. And believe it or not, the most fun tour that I've had was Buffalo, New York. Because they were very kind to us. They gave us a lot of time off. So we went to Niagara Falls and saw a movie and then played chamber music at night. It was great. It was a lot of fun.
The wisdom that you've gained over the years in this program, you've worked with some great period instrument performers and scholars from the period. Does anything come to mind, like nuggets of wisdom that you've gained?
Gosh, nuggets of wisdom. It's like one of those moments when there are a ton of them and you can't think of it on the spot. I've had so many nuggets of wisdom. So many. Some of them I will remember as soon as I get off stage.
Okay, well let me spur this on. Did you get a chance to work with Jordi Savall?
I did. Actually, Jordi Savall was here last year and he gave a master class and it was amazing. Jordi, first of all, if you're an early music HP person, you idolize Jordi Savall. And he just had this incredible. Some teachers are very big and loud, which is great. Jordi Savall has this very reserved, quiet energy that's very intense, but he communicates what he wants. So it was quite an experience working with him.
You're going to introduce us to your group.
Yes.
You're going to tell us what you're about to play, and you're going to tell us, like, when you sit down to play this piece, like, who comes to mind, like, in terms of your teachers or some information you've been given?
So the people in my group are Taya Koenig-Tarasevich on flute, Rachel Ellen Wang on violin, and Jin Nakamura on cello. And we are going to play a Telemann Paris quartet called Paris because he wrote them in Paris, actually, or wrote them for Paris. And really what comes to mind is actually kind of sitting in a history class and learning about German music in general, which is that they combined all the best features of the Italian and the French style. And that's really what I think about. And also this particular Paris quartet, it's silly sometimes. It just goes from very elegant to very serious to just downright silly, which I love. Everybody calls it my frog moment. Listen for that, but everybody gets just great things to do that's profound and silly at the same time.
This is Midday Masterpiece in the Green Space, music by Telemann. One of the Paris quartets by George Philip Telemann in G major, performed by students from Juilliard's historical performance program. Thanks to all the students who performed today, and thanks to everyone at Juilliard Historical Performances. Thanks to all of you all for coming out, and for those of you joining us on Facebook. I'm Terrence McKnight, and I'll see you all on the radio.